Okay, I can see that. I think we have everybody now. I'm just going to run the meeting until our vice chair and our chair are voted on by the committee, and then the chair can take over the committee, or the meeting rather. So welcome everybody. Today's Thursday, January 21st, 2021. It's 2 p.m. and this is the meeting of the Committee of Adjustment. We'll call the meeting to order at 2 p.m. Our first item of business is disclosure of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. Does anybody have any? Seeing none, thank you. So the first committee business is the appointment of the chair and vice chair for 2021. If the committee would like to bring forth names for this appointment, I'd like to hear them.
Chantel, I don't know if it's worth mentioning, like, if I don't feel like I have the time available to do it, or just given how 2021 is shaping up, can I remove my name from possible? And, you know, I don't mean it to be an excuse, and I'm sure we're all looking at a busy year. I just, it's certainly not something that I'm going to be able to commit to, unfortunately.
Okay, well, I'm sure the committee will take that into consideration. I know at our last meeting, I think Kathy brought forward Janice's name again for chair, so I'm not sure if that's the direction the committee would like to go, but.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind being chair, Janice, if you want to take a break.
That would certainly be fine with me. Brad, if you would, yeah, I will certainly put forward Brad's name for chair for this year.
Great.
I support that.
Okay, so I'm hearing Brad's name for the chair, and we have Janice and Aaron bringing forward that recommendation. Kathy, did you want to say?
Certainly support that.
Okay. And Fernando?
Yeah, Chantel, I just want to jump in quickly. I guess, what is the case if I have to leave early and I'm the chair? Is it possible for me to leave during the meeting?
I guess it is possible. I don't think it's not really easy to do, because then we would have to transfer over to the vice chair to lead the proceedings. I don't know, but I mean, in the event,
Like, I don't see it being too big of a concern. It's just there may be a situation when, if we have a lot of applicants and I need to get my daughter off the bus, assuming school's back in, but you know, there's a slim chance that I may need to leave at some point.
okay, so maybe what we could do is, if the committee accepts or recommends you as chair, then perhaps we can have a vice chair appointed, and then on those days where it looks like we might run late, we'll make sure that the vice chair can step into that role. If you leave.
Okay, that seems fair.
Assuming we still have quorum too. We still have to have the quorum of 3. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we have a recommendation of Brad for chair, and then does anyone want to put forward their name for vice chair? Or a name? You do that?
Yeah, I could put my name forward as vice chair.
Okay.
If no one else wants to take it on.
I support that.
I'm not hearing anybody else.
No, I do support Brad on Patty as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll support Kathy as vice chair, sorry.
Okay. So we'll just bring forth a motion that, or sorry, rather a recommendation that for the 2021 calendar year that Brad will be chair of the committee and Kathy Baranski will be vice chair. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please?
I'll
I
move
can
that.
move it.
Okay.
I can second it.
Okay, all in favor? See everyone's hands. Thank you. It's here. So Brad, are you ready to take over the chair today then?
Sure, no problem.
Okay. I'll just go through quickly too. I had attached the 2021 meeting calendar for everyone to see. A few dates. So the February meeting got pushed back a week, and then in March it's pushed forward a week because of March break. So they'll be held later in the month. If there's any issues with ones that you know you're not going to be at, let me know. Thank you.
Chantal, could you remind us, is this a 4-year term that we're on, or is it 3-year in terms of appointment?
Good question. I think it's the term of council. I think it's 4 years.
4, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Did you, okay, Carrie, is our applicant in for the first?
I can bring him in if you're ready.
Do you wanted to confirm the minutes first, Brad?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So yes, the next order of business would be to confirm the minutes from the previous meeting. I trust everybody's had a chance to review those. So if there are no concerns, could I get a mover to confirm those minutes, please?
Can move, Brad.
Okay, so moved by Janice. And could I get a seconder, please?
I can second.
Second it.
Sorry, Kathy.
Okay, seconded by Kathy. And those will be carried. So we'll all show hands to approve the motion. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Yeah, Carrie, if you wouldn't mind bringing in the applicant.
We actually lost him, so I want for him as soon as he rejoins, I'll bring him in.
Okay, so I assume we're going to wait for him.
I think under the circumstances we should at least long enough to give him an opportunity to reconnect.
Okay.
Okay, so I tried to call and the number is unavailable to get through. So I've sent an email to see if he's able, oh, Chantel might already be on with him.
Okay, so he's gonna call back. He said it just went dead. I don't know. Try. It's definitely a challenge with people that don't have internet access to come into these meetings. We have another gentleman that'll be coming in next meeting as well through the phone, so.
Question just while we're waiting. I don't know if it's appropriate to ask, but I'm going to anyway. What would be the difference between someone like this having a business on their farm as opposed to someone having a business in town? Would they pay like a business tax? I don't know if I'm asking the right people.
I'm not sure totally about taxes and the implication there, but I know that development charges, and maybe Randy can speak to this, they apply. So they apply in this case, and they would apply in the urban center. It's just, I guess, urban versus rural development charges, so they're slightly different. But development charges do apply, and taxes, that's under the purview of MPAC, the Property Assessment Corporation. And I believe when they know that there is a business there, they take into account zoning and then building permits. They get that information and they assess the property, I believe, if there's a known business on the property. So it would, I believe, impact their taxes and how it's taxed. We get the assessed value, basically, whatever that comes to, and then the township just applies the tax rate to those businesses to get the taxes that are owed. But I imagine it does certainly plays into the assessment and how those are derived. If that answers your question.
Thank you. So my concern is just the sort of competition if there's such a big difference in rates working in town in an industrial kind of area or on the farm.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how in the tax realm, like how the difference is there. Not too sure there, but I know that, I guess the applicant is here.
Thank you.
Yeah, the applicant is now on the line.
Okay, thank you for confirming, Carrie. We'll proceed with the meeting. The application today that we're going to be reviewing is file A01/2021. And the property is located at 6805 Irvine Street in the township of Nichol. Relief is being requested to permit a maximum size of 453.5 meters squared or 4,881.4 feet squared, as opposed to the maximum of 185.8 meters squared or 2,000 feet squared, and to permit 3 assistants who do not reside at the property as opposed to the 2 permitted. The effect of the variance is to permit the construction of a new woodworking shop on the subject property. Chantal, can you confirm that signage has been posted at the property?
Yes, I can confirm that the sign was posted in accordance with the Planning Act.
Okay, thank you. And at this time, I'd like to request the applicant or the applicant's agent to provide an overview of the application and to provide a brief explanation for the request as well as a justification. So if you could just introduce yourself.
Hello, it's Mark Weber.
Hi, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, so we've had a woodworking shop here on the farm for maybe 17 years. And we've been operating in 2,000 square feet until now. We have been farming out some of our projects or some things we do to other shops in order to get it done. And we've been having some issues over the years with quality control and so on. We think that we'd bring that all in-house, that we'd be able to control that a little better. And for that, we need more space to do what we're doing. So what we'd like to do is convert the existing 2,000 square foot shop into a farm shop and build a separate woodworking shop, separate from the existing building, and possibly in the future hire another employee. Not sure on that, but we like the potential to be able to do that. And there's no furniture finishing being done at this point. There wouldn't be in the future either. Other than that, I guess that's about all I have to say on that.
Okay, thank you. I guess at this time, I'd like to ask if any members of the committee have questions for the applicant.
I have a question, Brad.
Okay, go ahead, Janice.
I was just wondering, like this is strictly manufacturing, and like you say, no finishing is being done. What do you manufacture? Like, is it furniture or cabinets or kitchen cabinets? Like, what type of woodworking?
Mostly kitchen cabinets or anything built in. It can be mudrooms. It can be built in laundry rooms, mudrooms. A little bit of furniture, but over half of it is kitchen cabinets.
Okay, thank you. And then there's not, you don't plan for any sort of a showroom or retail portion of the business?
No, we work for a dealer. He has a store. It's actually Newmarket, and he finds the work for us and deals with the customer, and we just build for this dealer.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions from the committee for the applicant?
I have a question just for staff, but Kathy, go ahead. I'll go next.
I have one question. Right now, there are just 2 people working, and you're hoping to have a third, or do you already have 3 and hoping to have a 4th?
There's 2 besides myself. So 2 off-farm employees and myself. 3 in total at this point.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? Okay. Does anybody on the committee have a question for staff at this time?
Yeah, quick question. In the report, it mentions that county and provincial policies permit a range of secondary uses. And I was just curious around what range meant. Like, is it anything? And is woodworking a specific use that it would encourage as a secondary use?
Thanks. Through you, Mr. Chair, I can answer that. It's the provincial policies and the county policies do allow on-farm uses related to the farm, or like farm uses or related to farm uses. or what they call on-farm diversified uses. So there is some opportunity there to have other uses other than farming or agricultural. And they're in sort of those various categories, but the policy tests relate to the percentage. So generally speaking, you'd have to, we look at not more than 2% of the lot would be devoted to that use. So it's really ensuring that farming is primary. And there are a few other policy tests, but we want to ensure that it is subordinate. So we do that through size, through limiting the number of employees. And our zoning bylaw already speaks to this. So as a farm use, woodworking is specifically a business that is permitted, and that is anticipated in the provincial and the county policies as well. So the range of uses is, there's a whole list of them in our zoning bylaw. Woodworking is one of them. Other service type uses, repair of farm implement, equipment, and then there's a sort of a full range of other uses that would be permitted as well.
Thanks for clarifying that. So if the applicant at some point, and this is just theoretically speaking, wanted to expand and become a dealer and have a showroom, would that require an additional application or permit process? I guess it would if he needed additional floor space. Would that where the control would come from?
Yeah, so there's a limit to, for example, retail space here. I'd have to go back and look at the actual regulation for farm businesses, but they are definitely intended to be subordinate. And for example, not full-scale industrial operations. So that's why we would look at these. That's why we've limited it initially to 2,000 square feet, so that, and 2 employees, so we could really look at the magnitude, the scale of something on a farm, and ensure that it is subordinate to the main farming operation. So yeah, it really comes down to scale, I think.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for staff from the committee at this time?
Yes, Brad, I do have a question for staff, a couple of questions actually. The one isn't really a question, it's more of a clarification. Because I know in some parts of the notice, it talks about 3 or 2 or 3 assistants, and in other places it talks about employees. And I just want a clarification, like if the bylaw says employees or it says assistants, or whether they're interchangeable.
Sorry, yeah, I actually just pulled up the bylaw here, so I'm looking at it. It actually says, the farm business shall be conducted only by members of the family residing on the premises, and all articles shall be produced, all articles that are produced and sold by members of the family, and all services provided by members of the family, except for the employment of 2 assistants who do not reside on the property. So I think the terminology in our bylaw is assistants, but generally speaking, those would be employees because they would be in the employment. They refer to, like, both those language references are both in there.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Because I noticed it was in 2 different places. It was different. So, but anyway, that's okay. I forget what my other question was. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's okay. That's okay. Not to worry. I should have wrote it down. Thank you.
Are there any other questions from the committee for staff at this time? If you remember your question, Janice, you can come back to you. Okay, we will move on. I guess looking at the participants for the meeting, there aren't any other parties present who are in support or opposed to the request. And Chantal, can you confirm if we've received any written correspondence in support or opposition to the request?
Yeah, so I didn't receive any written or verbal correspondence in support of or in opposition to the application, and there's no one else joining this meeting that would speak to that.
Okay, thanks for confirming. This time we'll open up the table to the committee members. We'll have a roundtable discussion. So Janice, would you like to start?
Yes, I'm actually supportive of the application, and I have I have thought of the second question again, and I was just wondering if I can ask it, please, from staff. There've been no complaints or concerns raised by neighbors with respect to the operation so far. Like, I mean, they've been operating there for 17 years, and I take it that there's been no concern raised with respect to the operation so far.
Not that I'm aware. Usually, when you have these types of operations out in the rural areas, the neighbors are spread fairly far apart, and there's fields and such in between them. So any sort of noise and traffic coming and going is mitigated. That's not to say we don't get complaints about things, but usually there are uses that aren't allowed in any area, or there's certainly uses that aren't allowed on a farm. And those types of units, or uses rather, they're generally a derivative of traffic. There's large volumes of cars coming and going. It's usually time of day type issues where there's large gatherings of people in the evenings. So those are the types of things we get complaints on. This one in particular, I don't off the top of my head recall that we've had any.
Okay, that's fine. That's yeah. So I think I would definitely be in support, and I think it's in keeping with the official plan and the zoning bylaw, and it is a minor variance. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Janice. Kathy?
Yes, I don't have a problem with it, but I would like to reiterate staff's comments that if in fact another employee was to be hired, that I think that at that time I would encourage the owner to look at a more industrial area as opposed to the farm, because then there are 5 people potentially working in that business, and I think that then it needs to be considered more of an in an industrial area as opposed to the farm.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Aaron, do you have anything to add?
No concerns. So I agree with staff.
Okay, Fernando?
I don't have any particular issues with the application, even though he's doubling the shop space. It only represents 0.5 of the lot coverage, which is really nothing. And also, he also mentioned that he's not gonna work or do any finishing at his shop. So I guess the non-use of hard chemicals will impact the agricultural part of it. So I'm actually in favor of this application.
Okay, thanks, Fernando. Yeah, and I'd just like to add that I'm also in support of the application as well, and agree with the other members and town staff on that. I guess the one thing to note here would be in the town's recommendations, they outline 2 conditions. So I'd like to ensure that the committee is in favor of including those within the decision. So the first one being that the woodworking shop is located within the existing building cluster, and that was on a sketch provided by Mr. Weber. and that the woodworking shop be accessed from the existing driveway and that a new road entrance is not created. So as long as everybody's in support of that, Chantal, would you be able to read the decision?
Sorry about that. That in the matter of application for minor variance for relief from the Township of Center Wellington zoning bylaw 2009-045 as amended, section 4.3, permission be granted to allow an accessory building for farm business to be a maximum size of 453.5 meters squared, 4,881.4 square feet, and further to permit 3 assistants who do not reside on the property. The effect of the variance is to permit the construction of a 453.5 meter square accessory building for a farm business on lands described as 6805 Irvine Street, concession 2, part of lots 8 and 9, Nichol, Township of Center Wellington, subject to the following conditions: that the proposed woodworking shop shall be located within the existing cluster of buildings as shown in the sketch submitted with the application, and 2, that the woodworking shop be accessed from the existing driveway and no new road entrance shall be created.
Okay, thank you, Chantal. Could I have somebody to move that motion, please?
I can move that, Brad.
Okay, Janice, and could I have somebody to second that?
I can second that.
Okay, Fernando, second that. And a show of hands to approve the motion. All in favor? So the motion is carried. Mr. Weber, the application is approved pending a 20-day appeal period, after which time you can proceed with your proposal in compliance with other township requirements. So thank you very much for your time and good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. We'll move on. Is there any other business to discuss?
I don't have anything else to add myself. We do have a meeting next month, February 25th. We have 4 applications submitted so far. Potentially a 5th one. Yeah, we had to move it 1 week later, so the applications won't be circulated out until the first week of February.
Okay, thank you. If there's no other business, we'll adjourn the meeting. So can I get somebody to move that, please?
I can move it.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. Somebody to second that?
Second.
Kathy, thank you. And a show of hands to approve that motion. Okay, meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.
Nice job.
Good job. Good job, Brad. Thank you.
Yeah, if there's anything that I missed, certainly let me know.
I'll send you like an outline, but you did, I think you got everything. So just
Okay.
in case you ever have you need it just to have it by your side, it's sometimes nice in case you
Yeah, that'd be
forget
great.
or get off track or something. Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
Could
Thank you, everybody.
send me,
Yeah.
could I have one too,